G'day and welcome to the Round 5 edition of the Coach's Box, looking at the engine room for Adelaide against the Cats last Thursday night in what was a pretty disappointing result. Apologies for the lateness of it. I was a bit crooked during the week, so this took longer than I expected. Just a reminder that we're brought to you by One Sport, sports analysis software, perfect for amateur league or junior clubs or sports nerds like me, not just for footy but for soccer and basketball as well. It's a great piece of kit. Get around it. Use CrowCast 10 in the checkout for 10% discount. All right, let's crack straight in, shall we? And if you recall, we lost by 19 points at the end, overrun by Geelong. 18-11 119 to 15-10 100. There's the AFL stats. Obviously we go a bit deeper. If you look at the clearance stats, there's not a lot in it really, but that doesn't really highlight what happened during the game, which is why I like to go in a bit deeper with these engine room analyses. All right, let's have a look at the rucks. And it was a dirty night for Riley O'Brien. 31 attendances for 10 positive results. Riley Thilthorpe, 5 attendances, underutilised in my opinion for 3 positive results. If we have a look at the rankings, you'll see that O'Brien negative across the board, minus 13 at centre, minus 6 at stoppage, minus 3 at throw-ins. Riley Thilthorpe, these are weighted of course, so Riley Thilthorpe, 24 centre points, 1 stoppage, none at throw-ins. It wasn't really used heavily in those 2 phases. But Thilthorpe, wasn't a good night. My observations, probably Riley's worst performance for quite a while. He taps indiscriminately, as we've talked about before. He taps to convenience. We should know where he's going, but he doesn't have any awareness. No presence around the ground. I know this is a engine room analysis, but no presence around the ground whatsoever from Riley. And he makes bad decisions at critical moments with his tap work. He taps into the corridor or into space in defence, and it leaves us exposed quite often. And even at throw-ins, he'll just tap to where he can tap it, with no real eye for where his midfielders are. He's not tapping it to anyone. He's just getting a tap. Thilthorpe, I thought, was underutilised, as I said. We got a bit of a run on when he was in the ruck in the second quarter, along with Sid Draper, and also James Peatling had a few CBAs during that period as well. I thought they were all underutilised, to be honest. The good thing about Riley is when he can't win the tap, he immediately goes into midfield mode, and often he'll actually concede the tap if he doesn't think he can get it, and immediately start reading the opposition ruckman's hand. And he got a couple of clearances that way, and he's just elite at ground level. His second efforts in centre-bounce contests are outstanding. So in terms of our influence rankings, these are unweighted, of course. Matty Crouch attended 24 for 8 points. Peatling only the 10 attendances for 8 points. Jake Saligo 22 for 6. Riley Thilthorpe 5 attendances only for 3. Geordie Dawson 31 attendances for 1 point. When we chuck our weightings on there, you can see that James Peatling jumps off the page with 32 points. Riley Thilthorpe with 24. Matty Crouch, probably a better game than I gave him credit for. 12 points. Jake Saligo looked gassed all game. Tried hard, but only the 11 points. And Geordie Dawson, probably his worst game for the club, I reckon. Was ineffective around stoppage and around clearance, and seemed rushed with his disposal. I think from memory, went at about 33 or 34% disposal efficiency. So just wasn't his game at all. He'd be looking to clear that up this week. So looking at some footage here, and this is early in the game, and you can see that we've got the Isaac and Jordan both allowing themselves to be behind the play. You can see exactly where that's going to go. Stanley's obviously got the ascendancy there. It's going straight to that spot, but look where we are. All of us are defensive side. Dawson has touch on danger at this point, and in 4 steps, Danger's got all that separation on him, and Rankin is also completely out of position. So very early in the game, and already we're under the pump. This one here, we've got Isaac's in a better position at this stage, and Dawson's doing a better job on Danger. But by the time the ball goes up, Isaac's given up his spot and he's behind the play. And again, Atkins just beats him to the ball. And Crouch's opponent, because Crouch is drawn to it, he also gets off the leash. Again, early in the piece, first quarter, I don't know where O'Brien's looking at here. He's not even looking at the ball. Again, like Holmes just simply beat Peatling to this one. James just got outworked. But two players at the ball, Jordan and James at the player with the ball, obviously leaves Atkins. Atkins killed us early, actually. You can see that they're running a bit of a play here with Danger running through laterally. They didn't do that often. He's got done a bit by the bounce. But Riley Thilthorpe, just look at this nice little turn, bit of an Isaac Rankin turn there inside. His second efforts, and then just casually on the left, if you don't mind as well. I had to throw that in because as an individual effort, that just shows the talent of the young lad. Okay, the usual suspects again in here, and we can see that that spot there is where Geelong held front position all night. They made sure that they held that front position at the top of the triangle all night. So at this stage, we're nowhere. We're so defensive. We're nowhere in terms of getting that ball. You can see again where Dangerfield is all night. They're holding that front spot all night. We allowed them. That was a clear structural thing that they did so that they get that front player. And it was only Danger got done by the bounce there, and James did really well. The thing about Peatling is he runs really well low to the ground, which is a real good hallmark of a midfielder. Again, you can see that front position again, but we know where O'Brien's going to chuck it. And look where we're positioned. There's only one person that's going to get that ball, and that's Bailey Smith, because we're not positioned correctly for that tap. This is a critical time of the game, and we've got a ruck mismatch. O'Brien's against their second ruckman. 10 minutes to go in the game. We didn't score after this. So that we know where it's going to go, those two spots, left or right. Probably right. Isaac gives his advantage away. They're in the same positions. O'Brien gets absolutely bodied by their second ruckman. It goes to one of the two hit zones. Atkins perfectly times his separation, and Crouch is ball watching. So even though Geordie gets a good run at it, Rankin's already speculating now that Geordie's going to get the ball. And look at the numbers. It's only Dawson really and O'Brien, and they've got 3 plus their ruckman going at it. It was for such a critical point in the game. That was disgusting midfield work. It really was. Both Crouch and Rankin slack, ball watching, and seagulling. Our mid rotations are mystifying. I don't understand why we use Dawson, Rankin and Crouch so heavily, along with Saligo for that matter, in the first half in particular. Peatling and Draper were terribly underutilised, and it got to the point where in the last quarter, when the game was there to be won, our mids were gassed and we had to chuck Zach Taylor in there a few times. Now, Zach just isn't strong enough to compete with a Bailey Smith. It was a strange decision to put Zach in there at such a crucial part of the game, and I think it was just a result of us not managing our midfield rotations earlier on in the game. Our setups just don't seem to make any sense. Often, as you'll see from the footage, often we're on defensive side, we're caught out of position. We just don't seem to be set up in such a way to take advantage of where Riley O'Brien will hit the ball, and we all know where he's going to hit the ball, left or right. Not going forward, rarely goes back. And we're far too lazy around stoppage, around centre clearance in terms of maintaining position. You see Rankin give up front position far too often. Matt Crouch does it around stoppage more than in centre. but we just don't seem to be motivated enough to maintain front position. All right, our stoppage influence rankings. Rory Laird actually 4. He did quite well around stoppage, coming up from behind and being that backstop kind of player. Matty Crouch did okay around stoppage. Isaac did better. Geordie had 2, Peatling 2, and Taylor 2. But stoppage in general was pretty crowded and a bit of a mess, pretty much because the ruck work was so indecisive. Around throw-ins, Matty Crouch did okay with 6, Laird again with 5, same sort of a role. Isaac Rankin with 4, Jake Saligo with 4, James Peatling with 3. Jordan Dawson doesn't figure in that one at all. As I said, fairly ineffective. Here we go at the first stoppage. I don't know why O'Brien hits it there. I just have no idea why O'Brien hits it there. Same again. It should go to one of those 2 spots. Lockie Shaw on the outside or Saligo in the middle. And look where Riley O'Brien ends up hitting it. Why? I don't understand. So it should go to those 2 blokes or those 2 sides. It's only going to go to one player, and that's Atkins. I just don't understand it. So Jordan gets good separation on this one, and he's about to make a little lane through, which is great. And this was actually, we'll give it to Riley. It was a pretty good tap. But look where we're positioned now at this point. They've all got touch at this point, all our midfielders. Dawson runs through. Where did they go? Where did they go? By the time Dawson, gets the ball, they're all gone. Now, this is the outnumber. You can see Bailey Smith is free, and they've got an outnumber. Who gets it? Bailey Smith. There's the outnumber again. We'll just let this play through and see who gets it. Bailey Smith handballs it to, the outnumber. This next one here, there's the outnumber. Every time. Let it play through. This time, Saligo. And the thing with the outnumber is that when we did get clearance, we were rushed because they had extra players around the contest. Another outnumber. Who gets it? Oh, there you go. Easy. Numbers around the contest. They can get a much cleaner exit out of clearance than we could because they had the extra number. There's the outnumber. Every time. And I couldn't even see where ours was. Deep in defence, way out of the play. At this time, Dawson does well to get separation on a 2-on-1. Peatling is also in a good spot. And but look, Geordie's just about to kick this. Now, I don't understand why he second-guessed himself all night. And it was just... Peatling's really good at staying active in the contest and being involved. Rankin could take a bit of a hint, and I don't know. He's gonna do it. I'm sure. Yep, handball it to the ruckman. Why? But then he doesn't lay a shepherd. Look at that. He just doesn't lay a shepherd. It's basic football. O'Brien actually did pretty well to follow that. Probably should have got done dropping the ball, and then Geordie should have just kicked this goal. 2 weeks ago, he would have kicked this goal standing with his eyes closed. Just epitomised his bad night. So we've got Kane spare there when the ball's 20 metres away from goals. They've got 2 spares, and they're obviously going to run lanes. There they go. They actually run through too early, but Nank's drawn to them, which takes him away from Atkins, who then gets the lane and has a shot. And, there's the spare. Good thing we had Kane back there because there wouldn't have been a stepladder otherwise. Unbelievable. Fundamental footy. There's the outnumber again. I do not understand. I can't see where our outnumber is. I do not understand it. We just let it happen all night. It's a good tap from Thilthorpe there, and Crouchy actually does pretty well. But again, numbers creep up on him, and he gets done holding the ball. Look at the separation there between Crouch and his opponent. Both teens there. A critical point in the game. We're still in front, but they're coming back. It was unfortunate that the ball hit O'Brien's foot on the way down, and it goes straight to Atkins. But look how far away Crouch is from him. And he's able to weave his way through. Here again, that guy's going to run from a mile away, and there's our spare behind the ball, and Riley does a great job of tapping it to him. This is what I mean about O'Brien's indiscriminate ruck work. Now, I had to show this because that's a block every day of the week at a critical time in our forward 50. Should have been a shot on goal, and the whistle didn't go. My observations around those phases, the Cats gave us no room around stoppage whatsoever. Our ruck work was indecisive, and it made it very difficult to get clean use. There was some lazy work at critical moments in the match. Riley O'Brien, a couple of his taps were pretty lazy. A couple of times we let the Geelong players get separation from us at critical moments. But the big thing, the thing that was undeniably noticeable in the footage, was the coaching. Why the hell did we allow Geelong an extra at pretty much every throw-in and a lot of the stoppages as well? We just had no interest in matching them up. We dropped a spare deep in defence, and it was just a ridiculous thing to allow them so much territory and so much latitude around stoppage. And I think it played a big role, a big part in us losing the game. And interestingly, there were only 20 ball-ups during the match and 36 throw-ins, which is quite high. And Geelong clearly had a plan for those throw-ins, as I've mentioned with the extra. And I just wonder whether they actually played wide by design to get more throw-ins than stoppages. 20 stoppages is fairly low, and 36 throw-ins is pretty high, particularly on a night of good conditions with no wind. Geelong came with a plan and we didn't. So our engine room award for round 5, Crouch in the end was 17 points. As I said, probably a better game than I gave him credit for in terms of stoppage work anyway. So he just needs to give us more around the ground. James Peatling, I thought, was our best midfielder in all phases with 13 points. Jake Saligo with 10 tried hard, but was clearly gassed. Rory Laird did well in his role as the defensive backstop around stoppage with 9. Isaac did a couple of good things, but was also a bit slack at times with 5. And as I mentioned, Geordie Dawson doesn't figure here. His worst performance for the club. I hope they're not playing him with an injury. He's played with a bit of strapping on his calf at times this season, and I'd rather they just rested him. So, final thoughts. As I mentioned, Geordie's worst game for the year. I won't harp on it. O'Brien was a liability. I won't harp on that either. As I mentioned, I just can't work out why we gave them an extra round throw-ins. It was just... I tried to work it out. I just couldn't work it out. One of the big things, and this has come up repeatedly, and it's becoming an issue now. We have to either teach Isaac how to be a proper midfielder, or we have to get him out of there. I know he can get a good clearance, and he's good around stoppage, but at centre bounce, he is a ball watcher. He is flat-footed. He's not vigorous enough in terms of maintaining position, and his opponent, when the ball doesn't come to Isaac's side, his opponent will invariably become involved in that centre bounce clearance. Someone has to get into Isaac's ear and get him moving. At the moment, he's a liability when he's not directly involved in centre bounce. And in general, Nathan Van Berlo, Matthew Nix, whoever, we need to work out what our centre bounce formations are. Our setups are terrible. We're often caught on the wrong side of our opponent. We don't seem to be able to read Riley O'Brien's ruck taps, even though he's probably the most easy ruckman in the competition to read. We just don't seem to have a plan. And someone needs to get on top of that real quick, because there's some good midfields around, and I think we gave up 5 or 6 goals from centre bounce against Geelong, and a lot more from forward of centre, and a lot of those were from throw-ins and stoppages. So it needs to be worked on, because it's not our defence that's actually leaking, it's our midfield work, it's our work between the arcs that's costing us, and a lot of that stems from these issues that I've highlighted this week. All right, well, thanks for joining us once again. We'll be providing a preview of the GWS game tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, so get around that. And, of course, back with the wrap on Sunday night. So thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.